A warm hello and welcome. I'm Coach Ray, your go-to for narration and conversations on topics that keep you alive and well-ish. Follow me for practical tips, expert insight, and motivational stories to help you build a better life. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be reading the article that I wrote titled Critical Thinking in a Noisy World. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by all the information flying at you? Opinions, headlines, social media? And have you wondered what's actually true and who should I believe? In a world that's louder than ever, the ability to think critically isn't just helpful, it's essential. Here, I'm going to talk about how to cut through the noise and build a mindset that helps you think more clearly, communicate more effectively, and make decisions that are grounded in truth, not just emotions. Are you ready? Let's dive in. At any given moment, and from nearly any location, we have unprecedented access to information, and just as unprecedented levels of confusion. New ideas, perspectives, and claims we didn't even know were missing seem to come at us constantly. In a nation deeply divided on nearly every major issue, from politics to public health, strong opinions often replace meaningful dialogue. Headlines are frequently designed to elicit emotional reactions rather than to inform or educate. Even sources that present themselves as scientific or evidence-based may contain biases, selective framing, or incomplete data, making it increasingly difficult to determine what is truly accurate. Now more than ever, the ability to think clearly and carefully isn't just a helpful skill, it's an important part of being a responsible member of society. Critical thinking empowers people to navigate strong emotional reactions, recognize false or misleading information, and make thoughtful decisions that reflect their values in both their personal and professional lives. This article explores the foundations of critical thinking, why it's different from reacting, assuming, or guessing, and how you can apply it in everyday decisions and conversations. It also addresses common barriers like thought distortions, gossip, and cognitive traps, offering practical strategies to help you think and communicate your thoughts more clearly and confidently. Critical thinking is the disciplined process of actively analyzing, assessing, and improving one's thought processes. In simple terms, it means carefully thinking about something so you can understand it better, check if it makes sense, and find the best ways to make decisions. Critical thinking involves questioning assumptions, evaluating sources and evidence, understanding context, recognizing biases, and reflecting on one's own reasoning. Rather than reacting impulsively or accepting information at face value, critical thinkers take a step back to seek clarity, logic, and deeper understanding. This doesn't mean ignoring instincts or emotions. Gut reactions can offer important insights, but critical thinking invites us to pause, reflect, and ask thoughtful questions before drawing conclusions. It involves communicating with kindness and empathy, recognizing that how we express our thoughts matters just as much as what we think. This skill is essential not only for personal growth and professional success, but also for building respect and meaningful connections with others. Many people confuse thinking with feeling, or assume that a strong emotional reaction equals insight. While emotions are valid and important, they can cloud judgment if not examined. Reactive thinking often relies on emotion or intuition, leading to quick judgments based on assumptions or external influences. It tends to reinforce existing beliefs and can be easily swayed by noise or pressure from the outside world. In contrast, critical thinking is grounded in evidence and logic. It involves pausing to clarify, verify, and reflect before reaching a conclusion. Rather than simply accepting ideas that feel familiar or comfortable, critical thinkers challenge their own assumptions to seek a deeper understanding and closer alignment with the truth. And when we talk about truth, we're not referring to personal preferences or opinions. Well, you might know that chocolate ice cream is the best. That's a subjective truth, which can vary from person to person. Critical thinking aims at objective truth. These are ideas and conclusions that are supported by facts and reason, and that hold up regardless of personal feelings or individual tastes. It's about getting as close as possible to what's real and true for everyone, not just what feels true to us in the moment. Cognitive distortions are habitual ways of thinking that are often inaccurate and negatively biased. These patterns can distort reality and impact decision-making. Common examples include all or nothing thinking, seeing things in black and white terms. For example, I failed once, so I'm a failure. Catastrophizing, that's expecting the worst possible outcome. Mind reading, that's believing you know what others are thinking about without evidence. And confirmation bias, focusing only on information that supports your existing beliefs while ignoring contrary evidence. Becoming aware of these patterns is the first step to thinking more clearly and responding more constructively. Gossip is often fueled by speculation, unverified assumptions, and emotional narratives. While it can feel socially engaging or even bonding in the moment, it tends to reinforce cognitive distortions and undermine trust over time. This dynamic is amplified by social media, where information, accurate or otherwise, spreads quickly and often without context. Platforms that reward speed and sensationalism over depth make it even easier to jump to conclusions, rely on hearsay, and share personal interpretations as if they were facts. When individuals engage in gossip, especially in digital spaces, they often jump to conclusions without all the facts, rely on hearsay or emotionally charged content, or bypass opportunities for direct, respectful communication. Encouraging transparency, curiosity, and fact-based dialogue, both in person and online, is more productive. It promotes healthier relationships, builds mutual respect, and helps shift conversations away from judgment and towards understanding. Healthy communication is an essential part of critical thinking. To express your thoughts clearly and respectfully, use I statements. Focus on your perspective without blaming others. For example, I felt concerned when I didn't hear back. Just wanted to check in. Ask questions. Clarify before concluding. For example, can you help me understand what led you to that decision? And remain open to feedback. Invite alternative views and consider them without defensiveness. For example, this is how I see it. What's your take? Developing self-awareness around common reasoning errors can improve decision-making and reduce regret. Here are 3 traps to avoid. Number 1, confirmation bias. This is a tendency to seek or interpret information in ways that confirm existing beliefs. If you want to overcome confirmation bias, actively seek out opposing viewpoints and ask, what evidence would disprove this idea? Number 2, this is when we favor the familiar options simply because they're familiar, even when better alternatives exist. If you want to overcome the status quo trap, question the rationale behind maintaining the current approach and ask, what would I choose if I were starting from scratch? And number 3, this is when we continue an endeavor due to past investments like time, effort, money, even when it no longer makes sense. If you want to overcome the sunk cost fallacy, recognize that past costs cannot be recovered. You will need to focus on future value and desired outcomes. Critical thinking is not about being skeptical of everything. It's about being thoughtful, curious, and disciplined in how we form beliefs, make decisions, and interact with others. It allows us to rise above reflexive thinking and navigate complexity with greater confidence. To practice critical thinking, slow down your reactions, challenge your assumptions, be open to changing your mind, and engage in respectful dialogue. Over time, this approach strengthens not only decision-making, but also emotional resilience, communication, and personal integrity. Looking for a quick guide to sharpen your critical thinking? Explore the Is It True decision tree to help you evaluate information with clarity and confidence. You just listened to me read the article that I wrote titled Critical Thinking in a Noisy World. We live in a world full of noise, strong opinions, half-truths, and constant distractions. But your ability to pause, reflect, and ask thoughtful questions, that's a powerful tool. Critical thinking isn't always about having the right answers. It's about staying open, curious, and grounded in what really matters. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little clarity today. For your convenience, I've linked the original blog post below, along with a free download of the Alive and Wellish Critical Thinking Decision Tree to support your own reflective thinking. Remember, all of this is not about reaching a destination. It's about enjoying the beautiful messiness of life and finding joy along the way. Take what you need, leave the rest, and until next time, stay well.